Welcome. I'm the Two-Tone Bandit, and this is a podcast for Tennessee Titans fans by a Tennessee Titans fan. I want you to pull up and represent that two-tone blue the way that you want to. This is a community for us, a place where the fans can actually have a voice. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about interior offensive linemen. We're talking draft strategy. We're talking free agent signings. I want you to lock in, subscribe, tighten the hell up, and let's get straight to it. All right, jumping into it, you see we got a couple other diehards in here with me trying to have a real true competition on who the most diehard. You know, it's me. But anyway, look, good fellas. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. You know, I'm the Two-Tone Bandit, but this is our family, so we want to know who we talking to and who we looking at. We'll start with a man on the left, work our way around. Introduce yourself to the people, brother.
All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Titanius X. I've been down with the Titans since they first hit the city. I went to every home game the first year. I've been down ever since. What can I say? I'm a diehard. I go to every draft, and I'm really excited about what we got coming up for this season.
Okay. Sounding good. Talk to a new look.
Yeah. My name. I'm good. Oh, you got it.
No, you
Go
go.
ahead.
You go.
I AB Two Tone, man. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I don't meet too many Titan fans out here. I've been Titan fan since I was a little kid, man. My pops was pretty much like, "Hey, man, pick a team and stick with them." And around that time, it was Steve McNair, Eddie George. Man, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna rock with them. It didn't help that my favorite movie around the time I feel like was Remember the Titans. So it kind of went head
Yep.
to head. I was like, man, and I just stuck with him. So that's how it was, man. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Fan Club General.
Back.
Uh, what's up, y'all? I'm New Look Titans. You can find me on Twitter or X, whichever one we want to call it. I didn't watch football growing up, and then we got Mariota, and it's like the best thing about Nashville is when the city starts to really fall in love with the sports team, the whole city just goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then everybody was watching them, and I was like, I'll start watching. And then I got so into it. I would spend so many nights just going through draft and everything, and I just love the Titans. It's Titans all the time.
Awesome. See, we got all of that in common. Yeah, I'm kind of like out the gate since '98, and yeah, I didn't want to be a bandwagon. You know, like everybody was so popular. You know, it was always the 49ers and the Cowboys and all of that rah rah rah. I always was the underdog guy, and when you seen the story, or how they were developing, especially on that good run we had that year, it was hard not to fall in love with them if you were really watching sports. And so it's good to see and hear everyone's origin story. But fast forward, I don't know, that's the little sound effect I got right now. We're gonna move forward to today. Our concern about our beloved team, well, one of the main concerns is the interior offensive line. And so I think when you look at the Titans offensive line, it's still one of the clearest debate points on the roster because it feels improved on paper, but not fully settled, in reality. And the Titans added, guard Cordell Paulson and center Austin Schlottman in free agency, after Kevin Zeitler hit the market, which tells you that the front office knows that the middle of the line still needs answers. We got Peter Skoronski, he remains the most dependable piece on the inside at this moment. But the bigger question really is, whether the Titans have really done enough around him to make life easier for Cam Ward and stabilize the offensive line from the inside out. Volson, I could say, brings starting experience for sure, while Schlottman gives them depth and competition at the center. But this still feels like a unit that could use one more long-term answer. Now, whether that comes via a veteran move or through the draft or even internal development, right now the interior offensive line conversation is less about whether Tennessee has the bodies and more about whether they have enough difference makers in those positions. So with that being said, I'm gonna start with you, Titaness, and we're gonna go around because I want to hear everyone's answers. But the question is, do you believe that the Titans have actually fixed the interior offensive line or just added more competition to an unfinished problem?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with the third option. I'm gonna say that there's work to be done because when you look at Schlottman, I mean, yeah, he's a competitive lineman, but the thing about it is, we're looking for a big jump out of Cam Ward in year two, and only to get that, you got to protect him, and it's just like I don't think we've done enough.
Yeah.
I didn't like that we didn't, get in on the free agent centers when they came out there, like Linderbaum, and I can't remember all the names of them right now. But the other thing that I'll say about it is um, we have to re-sign Zeitler is where I'm at right with it right now in terms of the interior line because if we let him go to another team and we just leave it at the competition between these players that don't have much experience, we could be setting up Cam Ward up for not a regression, but just another stressful year. And we want to really set him up for success by giving him protection all across the front. So I'm hoping that we're looking for some veterans to bring in at least to camp and so these guys that they signed can prove that they're worth what they signed them for.
Interesting. New look, same question. Like, do you believe the Titans have actually fixed the interior offensive line or just added more competition to an unfinished problem?
Actually fix it? No, totally not. We've definitely not actually fixed it. I will say I'm pretty high on Jackson Slater. I liked him coming out of last year's draft, and I thought he was a really good get. And I'm really curious if part of why I mean, at this point in time, I don't actually know why we haven't re-signed Kevin Zeitler, because I think in terms of ranks, he was a top 3 right guard last year by the end of the season. Like he was playing super well, and I'm curious if he's just thinking about like retiring or if he wants to see if there's a better offer that comes up. But the other question is we've got tons of cap. We've got a ton of money right now. I think one of the questions that I have is, I mean, where's the Skoronski extension?
Mm-hmm.
Like when's that coming up? But I totally get why we were kind of out on Linderbaum. That contract was a little ridiculous. Like 27 million is a little high, I think, for us. And I think theoretically, whether it's Seitler or Slater, I think that right guard I'm still worried about, but I'm just nowhere near as worried about right guard as much as I'm worried about center. Because I think most of us were kind of thinking like, oh, Corey Levin's still there. We might just see what happens if Corey Levin takes it.
See what happened with that.
But now he's gone. He's with the Falcons, and we've got we like Schlotman maybe, but last season he played like, I don't know, like barely any snaps. I think he was 37th out of 40 centers in terms of snaps. Like he doesn't really have starting experience. Like I think that we're gonna have to draft a center or an interior offensive lineman, which I would prefer we draft many other things than have to go for another O lineman.
Interesting. AB?
Yeah, man. I honestly think that they're gonna resign Zeitler, man, for that right guard position. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they already know that, yeah, we gonna bring that in. Kind of like how everybody was waiting on Legarius Sneed to get released. Like, why has he been released? Why? I feel like they already kind of have that plan, because there's no way they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna have 2 rookies playing on the offensive line this year. And you're saying in Cam Ward's second year, probably his most important season, we're gonna have 2
Mm.
rookies starting on the offensive line. Like, I'm not believing that. So I honestly think they're gonna re-sign Zeitler and just have them other people battle it out at center. They're probably gonna draft an interior offensive line somewhere in the mid rounds. So I think that's kind of how it's gonna go.
So y'all don't really trust the current group around him, like to be able to come through in the bigger moments. Y'all still think we should invest in another premium resource on the inside?
I do. I like the mention of Slater. I do like the mention of Slater. I forgot about his development. That's a big piece of what we're trying to do going forward as an organization. But the thing to me is, you know, if you don't have veterans and you have to rely on rookies, it's going to take some time for them to get up to speed. So we really do have to really. I think it's like what AB is saying. You got to bring Zeitler back, and I think it's already a handshake deal because if you notice, he hasn't gone anywhere else. Levin
Yeah.
followed Callahan to Atlanta, so obviously they had some sort of connection there. But in terms of going forward, I just think the organization knows what the fan base is expecting out of year two from Cam, so they've got to have some sort of plan in place.
Absolutely. Okay, let me ask y'all this then. How much pressure do you think should be on Peter Skoronski to become a tone setter for the entire offensive line?
Hey, I think he has to be. He has to be that guy. He has to set the tone. It needs to be him, and it needs to be Latham. Even though Moore is
Yeah.
a veteran too, I expect him to bring that leadership that he had with the Pittsburgh Steelers and everything. But Peter Skoronski, Peter
Mm-hmm.
Skoronski, I don't know why I said name like that, but yeah, like I feel like they got to be the tone setter. They're the young guys, but they've been in there for a couple of years. They gotta set the tone to let them people know, like, nah, you're not about to be beating up on our quarterbacks. So whenever somebody touch Cam, I expect them to get up in somebody's face, throw somebody around. Don't let them boys beat up on Cam at all.
Yeah, I mean, Skoronski, I I think that Skoronski was playing like a top 5 at the end of last season. He was playing really well. Our interior was seriously showing up, and I think that like in theory, if we can bring back Zeitler and figure something out at, I mean, it was the same discussion that we had last year. Was like, if Dan Moore is our weakest link, then we should be fine. But Latham, Latham seriously needs to figure out this year.
Yeah.
And if I were personally doing the draft and one of those fourth round picks, I'm taking somebody like Isaiah World, who's a really good tackle, but he just got hurt,
Okay.
and so his draft stock totally plummeted. But I'm looking at some big tackle just in case to add in there as depth, and if we can develop him, and if Latham doesn't show up, if we need to switch, make that switch.
Hmm.
Maybe not this year. No, not saying this year, but like if he doesn't have like a good next year two, then I would not be shocked with how Borgonzi's been handling this if he's off.
I think
Okay.
the switch from left side to the right side for Latham last year, kind of him getting reacclimated to that position, may have shown up a
Yeah.
little still. I think at the second year, he maybe should show some more growth in terms of like settling back into what his natural position is. So, like everyone's
Yeah.
saying, we're expecting a bigger year from him, and if he doesn't deliver, we've got to look at our draft options because I do think that the interior line is going to be a focus. Like I want to say day three because the
Hmm.
situation is we're lacking on our skill players. We really need to uh, focus in on our edge, right? Well, we'll talk about the draft later, but there's some other positions we need to focus on. Is what I wanted to say. But with us missing out on the center market, now it's swinging back into focus, and we're going to have to do something and put some kind of resources into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of good interesting input and takes that y'all have. So by me being the bandit, I always come with the voice of optimism and reasoning, but it's always logical, But nonetheless, I'm because okay, so everything you're saying is correct. I don't have nothing to say against you. I want to put more into what you're thinking. So the way that I'm looking at it is, I think we are going to address, you know, um, the needs that we need to address, but I'm not sure if we're going to go about it the way people expect us to. We got to
Mm.
understand that, it's not, you can't do everything all the time and you can't do everything in one off season. So it's a lot of things that you got to consider when they're making these moves. We might be looking at it immediately, but they might be thinking long term. They might be looking ahead at next year's draft or next year free agency and moving moves around now to set them up for even things we might not see coming. But also outside of that, you got to understand that everything has to always continue to be proven in the NFL. And what I mean by that is signing Lindenball didn't guarantee that we would get the same production no more than signing someone like Schlavin won't guarantee that we won't. We've seen high guys with big names get signed that doesn't necessarily meet up to the production of expectation. And we've seen guys who we aren't sure of or unaware of actually come up and be more productive than expected. So everything still has to play itself out this year, on the field. One of the stats that I did see of Slotman, even though it was minimal snaps, out of 363 snaps, he gave up 0 sacks and only allowed 3 pressures. So, they may see building pieces there. Maybe Dayball knows something that we don't know, and maybe he, can actually, maybe he didn't have the rotation to do it, and now he can actually get more, production, get more snaps to actually, because, in that sample size, we always looking at everything else and saying, oh, he was on pace to do this. He was on pace to throw for that. Well, if you want to say out of every, almost 400 snaps, you're not even giving up a sack yet. So that's still a good average. So, hell, what, you giving up 6 pressures every 700 snaps? I'll take that average. So we don't, if we want to talk about production, we can go off of that and move. Like I said, again, maybe a sample size, but that is how a lot of things are measured in the NFL. And then what about, just looking at homegrown talent, like you said, Slater. A lot of times we want to grow in people that we may have. So a lot of people might not be proven because the same way we're putting out chips on Slater, we might be trying to go for a big name, but that's kind of saying, oh, I know that this guy's going to step up based off of what I saw from him. And that isn't guaranteed. He could take a dip this year. We don't know. But I do think based off of all the other things that we've seen as far as if we do look at the draft, if we do look at the draft from last year and just kind of the moves that, Borgonzi brought in and just looking at the production from these rookies this past season, given the fact that they had no coach. Okay, what you say? We had no coach. Them boys is out there coaching themselves, playing backyard football the whole season, okay? And given the fact that they actually improved after the bye, if you can do that by yourselves in a rookie season, then what can you do when we actually bring in culture and coaches who know what the hell they're doing? So that kind of gives me a little bit more optimism because these boys grew with no direction. So now that we have somebody that can actually teach them what to do at the key positions, I think the ceiling is a lot higher. And then it's just these moves were made by, Borgonzi, so, and I'm also speaking about the coaching staff as well. And that's saying to say that once we're looking at these new rookies that can, because I'll give you a quick question, a good way to look at this, and answer this for me. Do you think if we had the coaching staff that we have currently right now assembled at the beginning of last year before we started playing Denver, that we would have still ended the season 3-14?
I don't.
No.
I don't.
No.
That tells you something. And so, just make it make sense. But we got to move, that's because everything is on how I believe we had. What have you done for me lately, League, right?
Yeah.
And so.
Can I add 2 quick points real quick?
No, absolutely.
One thing is Schleiman, the line coach we have now came from the Giants. So they had to see something in him to sign him. And the other thing is, look at the tight ends that we brought in. We brought in a lot of tight ends that can let us run bigger sets. So maybe we're helping out the line play with our tight end position since we let go of guys who are just gadget guys like my boy Chid.
You know what I'm looking? I'm going to read y'all something. Listen to this. So before the bye, weeks 1 through 9, we allowed 38 sacks. I'm going to just go post and by so you can keep up with it. So I'm going to say one that's before, the second one to be after. So it's weeks 1 through 9 and then weeks 11 through 18. So the first half of the bye, they had 38 sacks allowed. On the second half, we only allowed 18. Before the bye, it was averaging 4.2. After the bye, it was averaging 2.3. These are sacks per game. Rushing yards, 731 before the bye, 858 afterward. Yards per carry went from 4.0 to 4.4, and rushing yards per game went from 81.2 to 107.3. So the guys that were there were able to and that's another thing that I had pointed out too. If you look at the offensive line and the whole unit, because it's about the offense, all those rookies they never played together before.
Yeah.
Now those guys have actually played together. So even coming in year two, because Cam never played with Alec before. Jackson had never been on the offensive line at an NFL level. So a lot of these things that were new for these guys have been, we have that continuity that we're building. More so is what I'm saying. And so I think that, you pair that with the moves that we made, considering we still have to see how we're going to address what positions in the draft. But more so, I got to say, I believe in the culture and I believe in the team. So I stand behind what we do. And if we making moves, I just got to trust the process. So I have to believe that, if we would have had this coaching staff with the offensive line that you're saying we need to fix, and you just said that we wouldn't have went 3-14, then we're already in a better position now, even without addressing the rest of the needs we need to address, because we would have been better last year with them. Makes sense. So, I'm excited to see how they're going to do. I do think we're going to bring Zeitler back. I think Latham, and then, we got a lot of guys that got something to prove, man. Latham here, he got a chip on his shoulder. Solid got a chip on his shoulder. Dayball got a chip on his shoulder. Cam got a chip on the shoulder. And we got a lot of people that got something to prove, man. And that's the type of thing, you want to go in to the season having. And so I'm just excited, just like y'all. I am so excited. And we're gonna go straight into that though, actually, so we can keep the conversation going. We're gonna go into the draft strategy, because it looks like the Titans draft strategy is really shaping up like it's a crossroad type of conversation, because we're sitting there at 4 overall, and then the board appears wide open, depending on what they value most. But a lot of recent mock drafts that y'all see, have tied Tennessee to Jeremiah Love. Some people, you even got some people saying, Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles. You got Carnell Tate out there, but Reuben Bain, David Bailey. I mean, y'all know the names, and it really looks like the fact that we're in this position with so many options. When they make the pick, I think it'll tell you the direction that they really want to go. But the league sees Tennessee as a team that has multiple legitimate needs regardless, even after free agency. The real debate is whether the Titans should draft for pure value, draft for immediate offensive support around Cam Ward, or draft for identity by adding a difference maker on defense. See, in the front office, I think that they believe free agency patched enough holes, then they can go get the best player available, if that's the case. But if they think the offense still lacks enough firepower or protection, then the draft becomes about accelerating Ward's growth and building a cleaner ecosystem around the quarterback. So with that being said, first question on this topic is, at number 4, should the Titans draft the best player available on the board, or should they force the pick towards helping Cam Ward right now? I'm going to start with Titans X and we'll clockwork.
Hey, look, you're going to have to go best player available. If you look at most of the organizations that have success in this league, it's always from best player available. If you try to patch your holes in the draft and you sit up there and you say, listen, we're just going to go with what we think our board says and our team needs and our roster build is going to dictate, you're going to end up with those kind of results that we kind of been having, where like ever since Vrabel left, we've been kind of spinning our wheels in terms of like what the project is. And like as far as I'm concerned, if Love's available, you got to take a look at it, because he's not just a guy that's got 4.3 speed. He's a bigger back. He can also split out wide, which gives Cam some options. But if you look at what Salah's been building everywhere he's ever been, it's like the defense is the main course of the menu, right? And so when I think about what's out there, if you got a guy like Arvell Reese that slides to a 4, how could you say no to that? Because that would be the best player available on a lot of people's boards. It really lines up to where they rank these players and what their overall strategy is going to be going in terms of the future, right? And the other thing, last thing I'll say about this draft in terms of like the first pick in the first round, the 4th pick that we have is this. It's look, you can't be afraid to swing for the fences here. If you got a guy that you think is a difference maker, because a lot of the draft analysts are saying that Tennessee has Love ranked at the top of the board. It's not really the fan demand; it's what you have on your board that you're drafting. So if they feel comfortable with that, I'm all for it. Now, I'm a University of Miami fan in college, so I was on the Bane train for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I took a look at your guy Bailey. I watched his film. He does pop off the tape, but when I put on Love's tape, I was pleasantly surprised with everything I saw he was able to do. And we are a running back team. You think about Derrick Henry, CJ2K, Eddie George. It's always been a signature name at running back. So I don't have a problem with it, but it's all about what they see on their board and drafting towards a strategy to set us up for the division. Hopefully that Super Bowl.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
For a new look.
Um, I am I'm pretty much in agreement. Most people that like any podcast I've listened to, just about everybody seems to have a relatively consensus agreement that in terms of like who's just the best player in
Yeah.
the draft, it's generally one of Jeremiah Love, Arvell Reese, or Caleb Downs. And I think that right now it's kind of clear that our safety room is doing okay. Like I think most people really believe in Kevin Winston, and so I really highly doubt that we're going to take Downs. But I think Love is. I mean, we've already heard like Teron Davenport's been on like multiple um, talk shows, and he's been like, yeah, the Titans, they really, really like Love, and he's at the top of the board. And the other thing that I will really point out about Love is you've seen it like the football is a cycle sport. Like we go through cycles. And after Mahomes, everybody was going for the deep shot. All of the defenses were playing two high safeties. Everybody was going back. The field was, for the past few years, it's just kind of been this like dink and dunk and then take as many explosives as you can through the air. But then this season and last season, we had more 1,000-yard rushers than we had 1,000-yard receivers. Like, think about that. Like, there were more rushers that ran for 1,000 yards than there were receivers. The
Wow.
league knows that the next step is playing under center, going for ground and pound, and then making explosives through the air. That's why, like, I mean, if you look at the Seahawks, if you look at their offense as a whole,
Yeah.
it's really like outside of JSN and Sam Darnold, the rest of the offense, they don't have a bunch of weapons.
No.
But Clint Kubiak just ran the ball all the time. Like for the first, I think like 14 weeks of the season, they were ranked in the bottom 15 of the league in terms of rushing success rate. But they were rushing the ball all the time because you can get the defense to fall for your rushing plays. And so if we add in, if we help Cam out by not putting him, like if our offensive line doesn't look that great
Yeah.
and we put him under center with Love back there, he doesn't have to stand there and play hero ball all the time because Love can get us all those extra yards that somebody like Pollard can't. And, but on the other side of things, if Arvell is there, I think that we're taking Arvell. I don't think Arvell Reese
Mm.
is I
Okay.
don't think Arvell Reese is going to make it. Like I'm just gonna say that. I really don't think that he's gonna make it there.
Mm.
But I think that if he did make it, I think that they would take him because he's probably like the best edge rusher prospect available. But I really don't think that he's gonna make that. I would love to see like Bane or Styles, but I just don't. I really feel like it's gonna be Love.
Okay. Okay. No, AB.
Now, now for me, I sat back and watched what these guys did in free agency. I was
Okay.
like, JFN, I'm hyped.
Yeah.
You know, they got that
Mm-hmm.
trade. They traded to Vajay Sweat to the
Yeah.
Jets and got Robert Sala boy. I'm like, yeah, that's a good edge. Pick that
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got another edge from Kansas City. You got the two cornerbacks. We got Amani Hooker, Kevin Winston, and I'm like, boy, he can do damage with that defense right there.
Yep.
Solid can do damage with that defense right there. And
True.
you look at the draft, there's some good edge rushers that's lined up to be picked in the second round. And what we got, pick 35?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at, I'm like, okay,
Yep.
you hear Robert Sala talk about Christian McCaffrey and compare that to who? Love.
Hmm.
And the way he can take over a game. And he affects the run game and the passing game. That man is a home run hitter waiting to happen. And that's somebody that Cam Ward needs. You brought in Wandale Robinson. You brought back Calvin Ridley. You still got Chim, Alec Ioman. Hey, bring that man in here so he can help out Cam Ward. Because you
Yeah.
got that's Jeremiah Love is somebody you got a game plan for. That's
Mm-hmm.
somebody that ain't somebody that you gonna be like, don't worry about him. He ain't gonna be. Nah. You got a game plan for that man.
Yeah.
And that man, Brian Dayball, you know he want a good running back. You don't think he missed Saquon? You don't think he missed
Yeah.
Saquon out there?
Yeah.
That man wants love out there.
Yeah.
I feel like they know they got to get that man some weapons. I tell people that everybody that wants an edge rusher, I won't be mad. I won't be mad if they got an edge rusher. I just prefer love. But I asked them, what's the most important thing that needs to come out of this season?
Hmm.
Love Cam Ward success is the most important
Hmm.
thing on this team. If that's the only thing that came out of this season, or Cam Ward had a good year, he developed, he took that next step. All right, cool. We can build on that. That's the most important thing to me. And I
Okay.
feel like that's how everybody should feel. Cam Ward success.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Let me ask y'all this then. If you just had to choose, this is just kind of it's putting the onus on you. So it's a personal question in a sense. If you could choose, up to you. They calling you like, hey man, they tighten it. Hey, new look. Hey, they call you. Hey, they gonna, would you rather see Tennessee come out in round one with a weapon, a trench player, or a defensive tone setter? Out of those three, like, where would you rather the help come at out of the first round? And now, like I said, this isn't putting a name on it, but this is more so putting a position on it. Round one, like what position we think we should do a round one defense? Should we spend our first on offense or in the trenches? If it was up to you, if you could choose.
We,
Well,
we go the clockwise again, or we okay, go ahead, go ahead.
I got
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you good.
Go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
offense.
Okay, offense. Go ahead. Keep on, new look. We started offense.
Okay. Yeah, offense. I mean, mostly because I'd love a trench player, but with this draft in particular, I mean, there's like 15 edge rushers. And also, we kind of haven't talked about like, listen, if Femi Oladejo doesn't like
Look.
at least become somewhat of a rotational, somewhat starting caliber edge defender next year, or in the next two, like next year or the year after that, if he doesn't become something of a contributor in the next 2 years, then that's on Borgonzi, and then we've got other problems to worry about because he missed on his second round pick. Like that's an immediate problem. We drafted him to be edge help, and if he can't show anything from that, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
So on the other side of things, our offense has like nobody. And and like it's the great thing about like us getting like Wandale
Yeah.
is it means that we can keep Chim. Chim doesn't like I'd love to see Chim play all the offense snaps and see if he can really develop into a big time wide receiver. But again, he led the league in scrimmage yards last year. He's a true special teams weapon. So Wandale gives him some of that time to spend more time for special teams. But we need something on offense. We need juice. We need like some type of juice. And if we can't find it at receiver right now, at least we can find it at running back.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go like this. First of all, I love the Femi point. Secondly, Jermaine Johnson, who we just brought up just a moment ago, he was a first round pick and also a former Pro Bowler coming off the ACL injury in year two. Normally, that's when you see a player round back into form. We got him on that 1 year rental, so I think that could really pay off big dividends, right? and then with Femi on the other side that could help him out if we got him crashing from both sides. But back to spinning back to the question, it's got to be a weapon because it's been a long time since you've been able to turn on a Titans game and just see one of our offensive players going crazy on the field. Most of the time it's
Mhm.
kind of like a reminiscent of Fisher ball, which used to just drive me crazy, where we're just 3 yards in a cloud of dust, bend but don't break defense, right? And then it's like, oh my God, I hope we win 17-16. I don't want to see it. I want to see us get 28 more than half of this season. That's what I want to see this year. So I'm all weapon, and I'm so much on the weapon. I first 2 picks, 35 too. Hey, why not get another weapon for the guy? Like for me, there's a guy out of Louisville, Chris Bell. He's hurt right now because Calvin Ridley came back to this team on a pay cut. I think the receiving room, if you added to dude like Jeremiah Love to it, and I know that we're not supposed to be naming names, but I'm just giving a hypothetical what if, right?
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
That, right?
Mhm.
You're able to take a player like that. We might be able to get our AJ Brown back because, like, ever since AJ and left, it's been a free fall, And we've watched him win the Super Bowl. We've watched all these other players just come out here and put points on us, right? I want to put points on the other teams. Now, the only
Yep.
thing that kind of flies in the face of the talk in terms of a running back is you're really hard pressed to look back in the last 10, 15 years and see a top rated running back win it. Saquon had the year with the Eagles, but outside of that, you don't see a lot of that. But this
Mhm.
team organization is different than any other in the league, and the fact that if we can get it on both levels in terms of the from the run game and from the pass game off play action, man, it's box office. Especially if you pair it with somebody like Robert Saleh and his defensive scheme, and then we're overlooking Gus Bradley, who is his second in command, and the guy who kind of helped him develop this defensive scheme that he's got. So to the point that was made earlier, we can use what we have to really put some paint on them. So if that's the case, why not go weapons? Just go all weapons like that movie.
Okay.
Hey, y'all know where I'm at. Y'all know
Yeah.
how I'm coming. There's straight weapons out here, man. We got to do what we got to do.
Say what
Man,
he said.
I'm trying to tell you, I can see it. Cam Ward snap the ball, dodges the defender, hits Jeremiah Love, open field. Jeremiah Love, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. Hurdles over the defender, he's gone. Touchdown to that. And I need to see it. I need to see it. I want to see our boys putting up numbers again, man. That was the last time we were so excited. We put up numbers out there. And I feel like the defense, like I said, he's gonna put in work with this defense. And if they want to get an edge rusher, they got that boy Zion Young. He's projected to be in the second round.
Yeah.
The kid from UCF,
Okay.
he puts in work. They can get a pass rush in the second round and they're gonna do fine. I keep telling people, they're like, man, we need to have that top five defense, get going to get an edge rusher. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have a top five defense, and Cam Ward and them boys can go three and out, three and out, three and out. How many times did we see that this year? Where the defense will get a stop and then boys go three and out, three and out, three and out. And that
Yeah.
defense gonna get tired, tired, tired.
True.
But your defense gonna get tired. And eventually it's gonna break. It's gonna break. Cause we've been in a lot of games this year, and then the defense can't hold up
Yeah.
because they're tired because they've been on
Mhm.
the field the whole game. Because the offense can't stay on the field. Get somebody that's gonna move them chains. You brought Wandale Robinson in, he moves some chains.
Yeah.
Bring in Jeremiah Love, a playmaker that's gonna help Cam Ward out. He just know he can throw him the ball and he's gonna make moves. He's gonna make things happen.
Mm, absolutely. I agree with y'all. I'm ready for the juice. I'm ready for the juice. Y'all see, I'm trying to bring the energy back.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
jump in your face right now.
Oh yeah.
I'll jump in your face with no juice. Draft throw that. I don't care. I'm in your face like I'm supposed to be. But no, I'm with y'all. Real like, look, like I said, I trust the process. But yeah, I want a weapon. I think like Love. You see Love browsing in the second round. Hell, I wish I wish we could fall and catch Omar Cooper Jr. Honestly, I'll take that one for sure. But but I think whatever they pick, and that's the reason I say I trust the process, because y'all remember last year in the draft when we picked Chimere DK, everybody was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Everybody was trying to figure out who is Chimere, because he wasn't one of the bigger names, one of the unknown guys, our most questionable pick, outside of Femi, and I'm gonna touch that in a second. Was the Pro Bowl as a rookie.
Yeah,
the guy we was questioning the most, like Chimere DK, everybody was calling him Dyke and all that stuff and shit. And it's like he ended up being a Pro Bowl in his rookie season. Kudos to that. The thing about Femi with me is I look at it like this. This is how I look at it. I look at it like, if we look at the selections, outside of Khalil Mullins, and I think he did good on special teams, but I mean, didn't really, get too many snaps, in the running position. But Cam Ward, I'm content with his first year. Kevin Winston, I think he's coming back. He has some flashes. I think he'll be great this year. Let's see who else we got. So, we saying Jackson Slater, Chimere DK look good. I think Ellick will be better coming in. Like I said, a lot of these guys are rookie. Even Marcus Harris in the 6th.
We got Gunner. What about Gunner?
Gunner.
Everybody, and that's what I'm saying. When we look at all of our when we look at the rookie class, how long has it been since you can get to the end of the season and you're like, you know what? It's all right. These guys, pretty content with what I saw, especially given the circumstance.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, if I can trust all damn near 80-90% of Borgonzi's picks, then why would I question his second round pick? It had to be something that to draft him in the second. And then I feel like this too. For one, who was there because we were talking about, like you said, if you look at our D-line now and look at all the attention that Jeffrey Simmons and JFM is going to have to command, and how that's going to free up the edges. And so we didn't have that last year. Plus, he was a rookie transitioning to a new position. And then, we just didn't have the coach. So you telling me, and then he got hurt. We only got a sample.
And he got hurt.
He got hurt. So I'm just willing to give him one healthy season, especially in a Robert Saleh defense, with the additions that we made on. And then not only the D-line wasn't heavy up there, they gave away the whole secondary. We don't got no secondary. Easy on your front seven. So it was, when you look at all of that, plus the coaching staff, it's hard for me to really judge the guy last year. Now, given all the moves we made and the new coaches, I think with a healthy season, when we can begin to start to judge the progress and process of Femi. But I'm not out on him yet. I don't think I can say he's bad, but I can't say he's good either. I'll give him one more chance.
But before we move on, I'll just make this quick note. For the Niners last year, they were a top 15 defense, and they lost Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, Fred Warner, and they had 8 players on the IR, and like 3 of them were big time starters for them, and they were still top 15 with Saleh coaching them. Like I think Saleh can coach up a defense. And I think that Dable can too, but with where they are right now, I bet Saleh can make all of his work. And also a funny thing, going back to a little bit earlier, if you think about it, Jermaine Johnson was actually drafted with our pick that year. We traded it to the Jets after we traded up for Burks.
That's crazy.
that Johnson was drafted with our former pick.
That's crazy. Come full circle. And I'm going to add a little bit more on the defensive side. If y'all look up your new head coach's defensive ranks, now I'm not talking about individual positions like the secondary or linebackers, but total defense. He's never, and since he's been in the NFL, had a total defense that finished outside of the top 5.
Right.
You look at the rank. Go look at him on the Jets. Go look at it. Watch it. I didn't. So what that's telling, it's like, if you think about it, that means that if he come over here and we finish 8th in defense, then that's a bad coaching year for Saleh. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
8th rate defense. So the optimism for me is kind of like there, especially given all the moves. But especially talking about some of the moves, we're gonna touch this free agency class right quick because I think they attacked it pretty good and aggressively. When you look at it, you can see that they wanted to get deeper, tougher, and more physical, more flexible. They added major pieces, like we said, Wan'Dale Robinson, John Franklin Myers, Alontae Taylor, Cordell Flott, Mitchell Trubisky, which I love as a backup, honestly. Cordell Volson, Austin Schlottman, and a whole lot of others. Like you said, Jermaine Johnson, Solomon Thomas. That kind of activity says that the front office didn't just wait around for a slow rebuild. They wanted to raise the floor of the roster immediately and bring in players with either scheme familiarity, versatility, or starting level experience. But the debate now is whether these moves truly changed the ceiling of the franchise or just made the roster more respectable. See, Robinson gives the offense quickness and volume ability. Franklin Myers adds real frontline disruption, and Taylor and Flott bring help to the secondary that we really needed. Like I said, Trubisky, he gives veteran insurance behind Cam, which I feel, because we love Cam, but you got to keep it in reality, and you got to look at all your positions in depth. I think someone knowing Dayball's system, being able to come over here and vet, I think we can get what we would need out of Trubisky, Lord willing, knock on wood, that anything would have happened to Cam. But I'm not as worried as if they just went out. I feel better than I did with Brandon Allen. I'm just put you feel like that. For sure.
Yeah,
Allen was just
that's a
clipping
fact.
incarnated.
Yeah, look,
That's a fact.
but let me ask you this. So which free agent addition do you think will have the biggest impact on winning this season? I'm gonna start with tightness and we're gonna go with clock on.
Well, look, I'm gonna have to go with JFM just because he's next to Jeffrey Simmons. And how do you block that? Because he can slide on every edge, on every line position in the early downs, and then kick inside when it's time to pass. But I've got to give an honorable mention to Wandell Robinson, just because now we've got a player in the slot with proven production who basically played with three quarterbacks last year. Now you've got a solid ascending rookie QB to feed this man the ball in the day ball offense. I love what that can potentially bring to us.
Okay. New look.
Yeah. Um, I mean I also agree JFM, but I'm gonna do like a double shout out in that it's Taylor and Flott is just getting
Okay.
a new cornerback room. I don't know if y'all remember like those like 2020 to like all the Vrabel years, and then our defense was just rough the last 2 years. But if y'all remember how many times we'd be watching a game, Titans would kind of have a lead, and then our cornerback room was so bad we would just be playing soft zone the entire time, and every team was able to just pass 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and we would just get cut up all game. And it's felt like that for years, where it's like,
Yeah.
what is our secondary doing? It doesn't feel like we can do anything. And so having two players like Taylor and Flott, and then hopefully with Winston really starting, if Winston plays nickel, and then Flott and Taylor can play like outside and outside, I think that we could have what feels like the first time in like years a secondary that's like capable.
I
True.
agree with you. Not to push back,
I
but
feel good.
Taylor on the outside is kind of a little concern for me because he's normally in the slot.
Yeah, it should be Slot.
Yeah.
I feel it be.
Hey, so I'm probably gonna go JFM just because him next to Jeffrey Simmons, I feel like it is gonna be crazy, man. Because
Yes.
whenever he has somebody decent next to him,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You put another dog next to a dog, like it's
Exactly.
gonna be because he was a problem in Denver.
Yeah.
We faced him week one. He was a problem.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Putting
Mhm.
him and Jeffrey Simmons, rushing them in the middle and putting that, the quarterback is not gonna know what to do. And coming off the edge, you're gonna have Femi, Jermaine Johnson, and whoever else we get in the, you're gonna have them
Yeah.
speed rusher coming off the edge. Because Femi, tell me Femi isn't somebody that seems like he's a Robert Sala type of player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be a linebacker, turn
Mm-hmm.
edge rusher. That man is built like bro, like a transformer. That man, did you see that man in training camp with the season started? I was like, bro, what's this
Call it the Transformers. Crazy.
dude? That for real, bro. Like
Yeah.
that man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I like that pick. I like Alante too because he
Hmm.
just the action.
You're a dog.
Whenever we faced him last year, bro, the type of dude that's clapping in the receiver face, bro. Like he's that's why I
No
got mad
doubt.
when he got rid of what's called from the Jets. We got rid of him last year because I liked his attitude.
Yeah.
I liked his attitude,
More
and
grounded.
Alante Taylor, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like this attitude, and Alante Taylor, he has that attitude, and
Mm,
also Wandale because he was with Brian Dayball. He
Yep.
knows the system, so he's able to, come in there and catch some guys up. He understands Brian Dayball, and he's already been successful in his system. We already know Brian Dayball know what to do with Wandale Robinson.
mm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
Hmm.
that's what makes us feel.
So
Even Bellinger, you know,
yeah,
um,
Bellinger too.
Yeah, Bellinger.
you know. So I'm excited. Like I think we have a lot. Even though we have questions, I do think we have a lot of reasons to be optimistic and excited. Throughout the entire organization. So it feels good. Okay, with that being said, is there a free agent signing that you have the biggest question mark about? I think I know what y'all gonna say soon as I start asking it. I think I know. But yeah, is there a free agent signing that you have a question mark about? And if so, who? We're gonna start in the same order and wrap it up. Titanus X, who got you? Who you question the most on one of the signings that we picked up?
Tommy Adams. No, I'm kidding. He's just a death piece. Um, it's hard for me to say because I really like a lot of the things that we did in free agency. Everybody fits the scheme. Everybody makes sense. But I guess if I've got to pick somebody, I don't really know much about Kylan Branson um, from
Mm,
the Eagles.
Mhm.
So I'm like, all right, well, what do we bring him in for? And then even on the offensive line, Cordell Bolson. Like, I don't know about his productivity. It's not a very expensive deal, and it's a 1 year, so it's an easy out. So I'm not too torn up about it, but I guess those would be my question marks. And then,
okay.
the outside of that, man, I mean, it's just the guys I don't know. That I'll be honest about.
Okay.
Um, for me, it's probably Malik Herring from the Chiefs, that edge that we signed. Like he looks interesting, but he hasn't really played that many snaps. Like he's not been a starter for them, and I guess it's good depth. And I mean, I don't mind it too much. I mean, it's free agency, and it's like a 1 year, $1 million deal. It's not spending that much money or anything besides that. Actually, I guess in terms of, I'm not necessarily that concerned about it, but it's a thing that I really am taking note of. We signed Trubisky to a 2 year deal. I think that potentially suggests that means Levis might be on the move.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're keeping Levis, Trubisky, and Allen all on the roster behind. And Levis is still on his rookie contract. He's pretty good. I don't see us cutting him either, particularly if we're able to get like a sixth or a seventh. I prefer more, but like if we're able to get anything for him, like I feel like if they knew Levis is coming back this year healthy,
Mhm.
right? We know Levis is coming back in. He's going to be healthy this time. Why are we signing a $10 million contract for a backup QB for multiple years? Because Levis still has 2 years on his deal.
Yeah.
So why are we doing that if there's not potentially some sign that the QB room might be about to get shuffled up?
Yep.
Um, just to respond real quick, I honestly just think Levis is gone.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a chance that he stays there. I don't really
Mm,
see the purpose like that. Like, Mitch Trubisky, he's a veteran, he has experience, he has something that he can teach Cam.
Mm,
So I feel like, that's very beneficial. And that's somebody that I would trust to come in there. If Cam got sit out for like a game or two, Trubisky could come in there and the offense ain't just gonna be so it's not gonna be too crazy. I can see him winning, like if he had to play like 2, 3 games, he might get you one or something like that. So it's not gonna be crazy.
get
But
it together.
it's
get
I
back
just got to
in.
get on the Levis thing. I think Levis is gone. I think Levis is gone. There's no way. And I think that it's the draft that we can move up, or like we might get a 6th round pick or something for him, so we can move up to get someone in the 4th or 5th or something like that. But I think he's going because he's got enough good tape. I mean, I know there's the memes out there, but he does have some good highlights too. So there's somebody's got to be interested.
Yeah. And everybody's, I mean, so many teams are looking for that QB reclamation project right now. If like this one quarterback doesn't work at the first stop, I mean, now I feel like this wasn't a thing like 5 years ago. Now we have like Darnold, Mayfield, Kyler, Geno, like tons of quarterbacks are getting these second shots.
Yeah.
And I mean, the funniest one, Malik. Malik's now the starter for the Dolphins.
Yeah. See how that's gonna turn out.
Well, after they got rid of Jalen, we'll see.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Y'all got any closing remarks y'all want to say before we get up out of here?
Yeah, you know what? The only thing I want to say is I'm pretty hype about this season in terms of what I think could happen. If everything works the right way, we could be a wild card team. We could potentially even win the division. Because the thing about it is, you know, when you've got a quarterback like we have in Cam Ward, and you put something around him, you can go up, you can show up any given Sunday and take a win, right? And it's been a long time. We've been starving as a fan base for some excitement around the city, around the league, around our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we finally got the player in place. And if with this free agency class that they brought in, if our draft breaks just right, I think it might be a special season headed into the new stadium.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm about the same way. I think I really like what Borgandi's been doing so far. I think that his vision and his plan is pretty clear. I just want to see stars. Like we've got Jeffrey, and as much as I love Cam, we just haven't seen like it's like every team. Like at some point, the theoretical stars on your team need to prove that they are stars, and I'm ready to have a quarterback that proves he is a star in Cam. And I fully believe that he can. I just want to see it. You know, like I'm ready to see the Titans have a quarterback that actually like puts some fear in.
Oh yeah, he did. You heard it here first. Look, his nickname's the Warden. All right, y'all heard it. So when y'all hear, y'all know where it started.
The Warden.
That's the Warden. Yeah. AB, can you hear us? See him trying to get on. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up right quick. I'm gonna wrap this up, but I want y'all to stay around for a second once I end the stream. All right.
All right.
Let me just let me get this going. All right, but all in all, yeah, look, that's what it's all about, y'all, man. It's all about us getting together, being Titans fans, and just talking. I'm an average fan, just like anybody else. This is how much of a fan I am. I wanted to create a whole platform just for us to come and talk. That's it. Mm-hmm. The average guy, the average Joe, whatever. We all, we're fans, and that's what it's about. We love the sport, we love the team, and we can talk this till we two-tone blue in the face, So, but what I want to do is, looking out to all of you out there, I just want to say thank you, and I want to appreciate y'all for tapping in and rocking out with us. I want to thank you for watching and being a part of this journey, because I'm building something real over here. I'm trying to build a community, a place for Titans fans to pull up, speak up, and feel at home. So help me get the word out so more of the Two-Tone family can get the chance to do the same. Everybody is welcome. If you enjoyed this, then do me a solid. Like, share, subscribe, and follow. You can catch me on Twitter, IG, TikTok at the Two-Tone Bandit. Let me know how you feel down below. I'll be checking back soon. TTFU all day, baby. Tighten up. I'm the Two-Tone Bandit, and we are out.